Industries that are hot, sectors set to outperform the market. That's what's here in Zacks Industry Rank Analysis. As we begin the second quarter of 2009, we take a look now at an industry that has some nasty undercurrents associated with it. And Charles Rotblatt, our senior market analyst at Zacks.com, is going to fill us in on what's on his radar for this week, namely the railroad industry. I find this kind of interesting that you're finding nasty undercurrents in that industry because I thought, earlier in the economic crisis that we were seeing that this was one industry holding up pretty well, and the prices that they had set for shipping and everything were probably the most reasonable, so they had become the most reasonable way for businesses to ship around the country.
They did. They held up actually better than a lot of other industries, and they had been taking away market share, particularly from the trucking companies. What's happening now, though, is really just the global economy. You have less demand for products, so you have less things being manufactured, less things being shipped to those factories, and really less products from those factories being shipped out to stores. All of that results in lower demand for railroads. When we actually look at carload volume, according to the Association of American Railroads, not an association I frequent regularly. Right. But when you're actually looking at carload volumes being down 15.6% year to date in North America, in the U.S., we're also seeing carloads being down in Canada as well. As I just said a moment ago, it's really a matter of the economy. We're in a global recession. That means less things are being shipped. It's going to hurt the entire transportation industry, the railroads included.
So are they going to need to take steps now here as we plow our way through this recession to modify anything that they're doing as an industry, like try to reduce labor costs or anything like that in order to mitigate these nasty undercurrents?
Well, I think the big fear right now is really pricing and what's going to happen. Certainly as the recession goes on, and if we see a further drop in shipments, it's going to put pressure across the transportation sector. And the big fear is if there's a price war that breaks out. Right now, it's just putting pressure on the railroad companies to be able to pass through all the fuel surcharges they had no problems passing through last year. That's hurting their bottom line, as is lower volumes. But the thing is, we get to a point where we start looking at other companies, either within the rail sector or outside the rail sector, really get aggressive on price to try and keep their cars or their trucks moving. That could weigh down on revenues across the board, and that could be a serious problem for the railroads. I did talk to our transportation analyst, Ann Heffron, about this, and she's very worried about the second half of the year, just really going on, that there could be a price war breaking out, or at least there could be pressures on the top line that could be hurtful for the industry. I should add that she does not have a buy recommendation on a single railroad right now.
Might there be a chance here then that if they keep going down that road, that we may start seeing some bankruptcy filings from some of the major rail carriers here later this year?
I don't think so. I think they're in stronger position than that. Obviously, it's always a threat for any industry, but I think you'd really see more troubles within the trucking sector than you would within the rail group. I don't think, and I'm not hearing any rumors about anyone being on the verge of bankruptcy. Certainly, I think you'd have to, really depends on the economy and how long the slump lasts. Anything's possible, but I do not see that as an immediate threat right now. Even when you look at the earnings estimates, you're not seeing estimates, you're seeing them being cut, but you're not seeing them being slashed with a butcher knife. Certainly there's other industries that have seen a more severe cut in earnings estimates, but to be clear, we did see about 40%, actually when I calculated the number before I came down here, 42% of all estimates made, 42% of them have been cut within the last 4 weeks. So analysts are very much reining in their forecasts for the full year when they're looking at profit projections. The big question is, though, when we see the railroads report, a lot of them will report later this month, will it be a case of where the reality is not as bad as the fear is, or is it a case where analysts have not cut enough? We'll just have to see what the earnings reports look like and how analysts react to those reports and to the guidance.
All right, and I know you'll be keeping an eye on that for us. And
absolutely.
Will fill us in on any late-breaking developments surrounding that whole issue. Thank you, appreciate that. And if you would like to see the text version of Charles' industry rank analysis for this most current week, just go to Zacks.com. It's all contained right there on the homepage. You'll have to scroll down until you get to the industry rank analysis banner, but it's the headline right under it, and it'll take you right to Charles' latest piece. With Charles Rotblatt, I'm Terry Ruffalo.